comment, every polarizing post, every jab at a beloved classic. It's like she's been sowing the seeds of her own downfall one interview at a time. And when Snow White...
When asked what she would say to those who are relentlessly criticizing the new Snow White film, despite all the years of effort and hard work poured into it, the situation surrounding the movie has taken on a life of its own. At this point, many people believe the backlash isn't even about the film itself anymore. It's about the person at the center of it, Rachel Zegler. To many, Disney's decision to cast her as Snow White has come to symbolize everything that frustrates audiences about modern Hollywood. The general sentiment online is that Disney chose to hire someone who doesn't just misunderstand the spirit of Snow White, but openly despises it. Critics say they picked the most insufferable, self-righteous, and self-absorbed girl boss type on Earth to play a gentle fairy tale princess. Zegler has earned a reputation for being extremely woke, but not in a thoughtful or balanced way. Rather, in a way that feels combative, performative, and detached from reality. Some commentators have even gone as far as to call her worldview deranged. She has repeatedly dismissed classic storylines and mocked the original 1937 film, calling it outdated and sexist. In one interview, she joked about how Snow White doesn't need a prince to save her, insisting that her version of the character is a strong, independent woman who doesn't rely on a man's love. While that might sound empowering on paper, her tone and attitude have been described as condescending, not only toward the original movie, but toward the people who still love it. Her interactions online have further fueled this perception. Whenever she faces criticism, she tends to double down rather than engage thoughtfully. She's told people who disagree with her to just unfollow if they don't like her opinions, insisting she doesn't need their support or their business. To some, that's ironic, considering she's starring in a massive Disney blockbuster that depends on the very audience she's alienating. Commentators have called this the height of entitlement, the idea that she doesn't owe fans respect, even though they're the ones expected to buy tickets. The controversy deepened when Disney announced that the 7 dwarfs from the original Snow White story had been replaced by a group of magical creatures of various sizes and ethnicities, leaving only one actual dwarf actor among them. The change was meant to appear inclusive and modern, but instead, it sparked outrage from members of the dwarfism community, including actor Peter Dinklage, who argued that Disney had actually erased meaningful representation rather than promoting it. Critics pointed out that instead of rewriting the story to make it more sensitive, Disney simply removed a key part of it altogether, erasing the very people it claimed to be protecting. Amid all this, Zegler's public behavior became a lightning rod for further criticism. Some accused her of being unstable or unhappy, projecting her personal issues onto social and political causes like feminism, patriarchy, and gender politics. Others suggested that, like many in Hollywood, she comes across as deeply self-absorbed and emotionally fragile. Each new comment she made seemed to worsen the situation, creating the image of someone who believed she was smarter and more righteous than her audience. After months of backlash, negative interviews, viral TikToks, and endless online debates, Rachel Zegler suddenly vanished from the public eye. Reports circulated that she had flown to Colombia, seeking privacy and peace away from the chaos. Yet, her disappearance only added fuel to the fire, with fans and critics alike wondering whether Disney had finally forced her to step back from the spotlight. Clips from her old interviews began resurfacing, including one in which she complained about the long hours on set, saying, "Every hour I wear the Snow White dress, I deserve to be paid for every single one." This comment reignited outrage, with many asking sarcastically whether she was struggling to pay bills, despite starring in major productions like West Side Story and a Disney live-action remake. To the public, it came off as yet another example of Hollywood entitlement. Someone so out of touch that she believed dressing as a princess was a hardship worth extra pay. The backlash became so intense that Disney reportedly brought in a specialized media consultant to accompany her to interviews and prevent further PR disasters. Every time she spoke, she seemed to make things worse, and eventually, silence became the company's only strategy. As the noise around the film grew, her earlier comments about ethnicity, privilege, feminism, and even her experiences with Steven Spielberg resurfaced, further damaging her reputation. In the end, Rachel Zegler's story became less about the movie itself and more about the larger cultural clash between traditional audiences and modern Hollywood ideology. What began as excitement for a Disney classic turned into a case study in how arrogance, tone deafness, and social media overexposure can destroy a film's image before it's even released. Many fans feel that Rachel's presence didn't just harm Snow White, it poisoned the entire conversation around it. To quote one commentator, "She wasn't just controversial, she was toxic." And as the dust settles, the silence from both Disney and Rachel Zegler speaks louder than any PR statement ever could. She'd become toxic, not just to critics or skeptics, but to anyone who might have been interested in this film in the first place. The moment Rachel Zegler opened her mouth to talk about herself or Snow White, audiences began tuning out. Whatever curiosity people once had about Disney's latest live-action remake evaporated almost instantly. It wasn't magic anymore. It was marketing gone wrong. Disney reportedly lost more than $350 million on a movie that was meant to capture hearts and charm families. Instead, it turned into something entirely different, a cinematic TED Talk on personal empowerment and self-discovery. What was supposed to be whimsical became preachy. What was supposed to be nostalgic turned into a lecture. People didn't leave the theater smiling. They left confused, wondering, "What did I just watch?" The internet's reaction was merciless but unsurprising. "Oh wow, Snow White flopped," they said. But who was really shocked? Disney had cast someone viewed by many as the least genuine, most disconnected, and widely disliked actress in modern Hollywood. And that's saying a lot, considering how cynical Hollywood already is. Instead of a timeless fairy tale, audiences got something entirely different. An overwrought, 3-hour monologue about self-worth, identity, and redefining fairness, starring a lead who seemed to loathe the original story she was supposed to celebrate. Even the villain wasn't spared. Gal Gadot's evil queen, once meant to embody vanity and jealousy, now stood awkwardly beside a heroine who seemed to think she was the moral teacher of the audience. Gone were the dwarfs, the charm, and the sense of wonder. What remained was a glossy, politically charged sermon delivered by a studio desperate to prove it still gets it. In interviews, Zegler tried to redefine the mythology of Snow White itself. She claimed that the name Snow White no longer referred to the fairness of her skin, as it had in the 1937 original, but to her ability to survive a snowstorm. She spoke about the new film's message of fairness being something that comes from within, that true beauty is about kindness, empathy, and how you treat others. She emphasized that the story was now about inner morality rather than outward appearance. In isolation, these ideas might have sounded noble, but delivered with her trademark condescension and self-righteous tone, they rang hollow. Audiences didn't hear inspiration, they heard lecturing. Disney had spent nearly a decade trying to recapture its golden touch, but now it faced an identity crisis. The brand that once symbolized dreams and wonder had become a case study in how to alienate your core audience. As Minecraft, the movie, a project few had high expectations for, smashed records at the box office, the irony was impossible to ignore. A film about blocky, pixelated cubes had delivered more genuine fun, heart, and laughter than Disney's most ambitious fairy tale remake. Reports from inside the studio painted a grim picture. Executives were said to be in full panic mode, scrambling to figure out how everything went so wrong. Some insiders even claimed that meetings were being held about new morality clauses in actor contracts, a desperate move to prevent another PR meltdown like this one. The conversation wasn't just about box office numbers anymore, it was about brand survival. Behind the scenes, the blame fell squarely on the way Zegler handled the press. Her now infamous comments about the prince being a stalker became the breaking point. That single soundbite, dismissing one of Disney's most iconic love stories as creepy and outdated, shattered the illusion completely. It was, as one insider put it, the moment the glass coffin cracked. For decades, Snow White had been a tale about innocence, kindness, and finding joy in simple goodness. But this version turned that legacy into something cold and cynical, a film obsessed with messaging rather than magic. And while Rachel Zegler insisted that it's no longer 1937, audiences couldn't help but wish just for a moment that it still was. The message was clear from the very beginning. This wasn't going to be the traditional Snow White, the new version wouldn't revolve around the prince, and it certainly wouldn't end with a dream of true love. Instead, audiences were told that this Snow White was dreaming of leadership, power, and self-discovery, becoming the leader she knows she can be. It sounded like a fresh, modern take on paper. But when those words came from Rachel Zegler herself, already infamous for her condescending tone and self-satisfied interviews, the line between empowerment and arrogance blurred fast. The awkwardness didn't end there. One of the most talked about moments in Zegler's recent career came during the Oscars, when she and co-star Gal Gadot took the stage together to present an award. The chemistry, or lack thereof, was instantly noticeable. Instead of the warm charm of two co-stars united in sisterhood, the energy felt cold, distant. It wasn't best friends at a royal ball. It was co-workers forced to attend an office holiday party they both want to leave. "Please welcome Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot," the announcer said. The two smiled politely, delivering their lines about the importance of visual effects, how technology pushes the boundaries of what we see on screen, how magic meets imagination. But the smiles never reached their eyes. There were no jokes, no genuine glances, no hint of rapport. Just a few seconds of thinly veiled discomfort, captured forever in high definition. Social media lit up instantly, calling it the most awkward moment of the night. One user quipped, "It looked like a deleted scene from Succession." Then came the brutal online comparisons. On one side, clips of Minecraft. The movie audiences erupting in laughter and applause, packed theaters roaring with energy. On the other, eerily quiet screenings of Snow White, where employees could be heard whispering, "Should we just go home?" A cultural contrast in real time. One film embraced joy and fun, the other seemed to repel it. Rachel Zegler had once declared that her millions of fans would line up to see her no matter what she did. She compared herself to the winged victory of Samothrace, a broken statue people still flock to admire. "Despite my flaws and my cracks, people will still wait in line to see me," she said in an interview. It was meant to sound poetic, but to many it came across as self-absorbed, the words of someone out of touch with the reality outside her Hollywood bubble. But when curious moviegoers started filming their own theater visits, the reality was devastating. One viral clip showed a fan walking into a Snow White showing at 2 p.m. "Let's see how empty it is," the voice said. They paused at the doorway. "I think I hear 2 people." The camera panned to an almost empty theater. Another video showed a ticket counter with 0 sales. Thousands of clips just like these spread across social media. Rows of empty seats, untouched popcorn machines, and the quiet hum of disappointment. The memes that followed were merciless. Edits showing Zegler's interviews spliced next to empty theaters flooded TikTok and YouTube. Fans joked that the film had been fairer than Snow White. Because no one judged it by its looks, they just didn't show up. The humor was dark, but the damage was real. So when Rachel Zegler vanished from the public eye, speculation ran wild. Some said she was simply regrouping, taking a step back to let the outrage die down. Others believed it was a strategic PR move, carefully calculated by Disney's crisis management team. And then there were the wilder theories, that she'd fled to Colombia to escape the Hollywood chaos and avoid awkward run-ins with Mickey Mouse back in Los Angeles. Whether it's a planned hiatus, an accidental vacation turned conspiracy, or a full-scale public relations escape mission, one thing is undeniable. The silence speaks volumes. Every day without a new statement or post adds to the intrigue. One anonymous Disney executive was even rumored to have sighed, "If she posts another butterfly emoji, I'm going to cry." The truth is, everyone loves a good redemption arc. Hollywood has forgiven far worse. But redemption takes humility, something Zegler hasn't yet shown. If she truly wants to win back the public's heart, she can't keep rewriting fairy tales to fit her worldview. She has to start writing a new story, her own, one built on grace, accountability, and the ability to laugh at herself again. Because in the end, Snow White was never just about who's the fairest. It was about the purity of spirit, the kindness that draws people in, the magic that reminds us what innocence looks like. And until Rachel Zegler rediscovers that kind of authenticity, no amount of Disney sparkle or Hollywood rebranding can save the story.